Most people don't realize they're underpaid until one quiet moment forces the thought into focus. You open your banking app, you see your salary, you remember that raise from last year, 3%, maybe 4%, and for a split second it feels like progress. Then you look around and realize rent is higher, groceries are higher, insurance is higher, healthcare costs more. Everything in your life has gotten more expensive except the thing that's supposed to support it, according to U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, real wage data, and OECD income reports updated through 2025. Real wage growth for middle-income workers has barely outpaced inflation over the past decade, which means many people feel busy, productive, and responsible. Yet financially, they're standing still. And here's the uncomfortable truth most people never hear: that stagnation is rarely an accident. It isn't just inflation, it isn't bad luck. It's the predictable result of structural traps built into the traditional 9-to-5 system, combined with behavioral patterns that quietly keep people stuck for years without realizing it. When most people land a job, they think short-term. They focus on getting hired, proving themselves, being dependable, doing solid work, and staying out of trouble. And they assume that competence plus loyalty naturally leads to higher pay over time. But that assumption is the first trap. Companies do not raise salaries out of appreciation. They raise salaries when the cost of losing you becomes higher than the cost of paying you more. And this isn't cruelty, it's basic business economics. Firms optimize labor costs the same way they optimize rent, software, and equipment. And if you're producing value at your current salary, and you're not actively signaling that you have strong alternatives, the company has no financial incentive to increase your compensation. Behavioral economists describe this as status quo bias, the tendency to stick with existing arrangements because change feels risky. Employers benefit from that bias, and employees absorb the cost. This connects directly to the second trap: staying too long in the same role without renegotiating your market value. Data from LinkedIn workforce reports and Federal Reserve labor mobility research consistently shows that wage growth accelerates most when workers change employers strategically every 3 to 5 years, while internal raises typically average 2 to 4% annually, and external moves, when skills transfer cleanly into higher value roles, often produce jumps between 15 and 25%. Over a decade, that difference compounds into an entirely different income trajectory. Comfort feels safe, but financially comfort is expensive. Picture this common scenario. A 35-year-old professional with about 10 years of experience, a solid performer with no drama and no major career mistakes, who started at $45,000 a year and today earns just under $60,000, which sounds reasonable on paper. But once you adjust for rent, food, insurance, and healthcare, his lifestyle feels tighter than it did in his 20s. He doesn't feel broke, he feels stuck. And that's the dangerous zone, because nothing feels urgent enough to force change. This next mistake costs people more than bad bosses or bad degrees. Most people have no idea what they're actually worth in the open market. They assume their current salary must be roughly fair. But in reality, platforms like LinkedIn Salary Insights, Glassdoor aggregated reports, and industry compensation surveys show wide pay dispersion for identical roles. And two professionals with similar experience can earn tens of thousands apart simply because one negotiated better or entered the market at a stronger moment. Research from Harvard Business School on negotiation outcomes shows that employees who negotiate starting pay earn significantly more not just once, but repeatedly, because every future raise compounds from a higher base, and not knowing your market value is like shopping blindfolded and hoping the price is fair. Then comes the psychological trap around asking for money. Many people avoid direct salary conversations because they fear appearing ungrateful, difficult, or disloyal. A mindset usually formed early in life where you're taught to be polite, not ask for too much, and not rock the boat. But professional compensation isn't charity, it's an exchange of value. And when you avoid negotiation, you hand control of your earning power to someone whose incentive is to minimize costs. People who earn more don't wait to be noticed. They present evidence, quantify results, anchor discussions in market data, and treat compensation conversations as normal business discussions rather than emotional confrontations. Most people hear this part and still do nothing, and that's why they stay stuck. Another silent trap is the belief that stability equals safety. People stay in roles they dislike, companies that undervalue them, or industries with declining demand because change feels risky. But staying put carries its own risk in the form of skill obsolescence. According to World Economic Forum Future of Jobs updates through 2025, nearly half of core job skills that are expected to shift significantly within 5 years. And if you're not actively upgrading your skills, you're losing leverage even while collecting a paycheck. Because career security no longer comes from loyalty, it comes from adaptability. Then there's the negotiation trap when people finally decide to move. They receive an offer that's higher than their current salary and immediately accept. It feels like winning. But in reality, it often means leaving money on the table, because companies rarely open with their maximum offer and instead test boundaries across salary. Signing bonuses, equity, remote flexibility, vacation time, learning budgets, and start dates, all of which are negotiable. Behavioral research shows candidates negotiate far less aggressively than employers expect, and the discomfort of a 5-minute negotiation can cost tens of thousands over the next few years, because silence is expensive. Another powerful trap is confusing activity with value. Being busy feels productive with meetings, emails, deadlines, and constant motion, but companies don't pay for effort, they pay for impact. High earners focus on outcomes that move revenue, reduce costs, improve systems, or unlock growth. They solve high-leverage problems. They don't just maintain workflows, they improve them. And while busyness keeps you occupied, impact increases your market value. This ties directly into skill development, because many employees invest heavily in company-specific knowledge that doesn't transfer elsewhere, becoming experts in internal tools, internal processes, and internal politics that rarely travel well. The highest-paid professionals build portable skills like technical expertise, data analysis, leadership, sales, project management, and strategic communication, because these skills retain value across companies and industries. And if your skills only work inside one organization, your leverage collapses the moment you consider leaving. There's also the permission trap, where many people wait to be promoted, invited, or approved before expanding their income, waiting for managers to open doors, even though income growth often comes from initiative. Through learning monetizable skills, freelancing, consulting, building side expertise, launching small projects, or positioning yourself for higher impact roles. Because opportunity rarely arrives neatly packaged, it's built. Experience itself can become another illusion. Because years alone don't increase value, progress does. And if you repeat the same tasks for 15 years, you don't have 15 years of growth. You have 1 year repeated 15 times, while markets reward expanded responsibility, leadership, problem-solving depth, and measurable results rather than time served. Networking is another underestimated force, as research consistently shows that referrals and professional networks account for a large share of high-quality job placements, with opportunities moving through people before they hit job boards, because strong networks create optionality. Optionality creates leverage, and isolation creates dependence. Then there's role narrowness, where many professionals stay confined to a job description and never learn adjacent skills or understand how their work fits into the company's broader value chain, while high earners develop wide perspective by understanding revenue, costs, customers, and strategy, making them harder to replace and easier to promote. Benefits negotiation is another blind spot, because salary is visible while benefits are hidden. Yet retirement matching, healthcare subsidies, equity plans, flexible schedules, learning budgets, and remote arrangements all carry real economic value. And companies often prefer adjusting benefits because they cost less than permanent salary increases. So ignoring them means leaving compensation on the table without realizing it. Now compress this forward in time and imagine waking up at 45 in the same job, the same role, the same pattern, with another decade having passed quietly, while the raises came and the expenses came faster. Nothing collapsing, but nothing changing either. Because regret doesn't arrive as panic. It arrives as a quiet realization that you waited too long to treat your career strategically. This is where income growth actually comes from, and almost nobody explains it this way. Treat your career like a portfolio, with a skill asset made up of capabilities valuable across many companies. An income asset consisting of roles or projects that scale or compound. a network asset built from relationships that create access before opportunities are public, and an optionality asset defined by the ability to walk away without panic. Because careers that compound are diversified and careers that stagnate are concentrated risk. When you step back, the pattern becomes obvious. Income stagnation isn't about working harder. It's about working strategically, investing in skills, rebalancing roles, reducing concentration risk, increasing leverage, diversifying income sources when possible, and stopping thinking like someone grateful for employment while starting to think like someone responsible for their market value. The difference compounds quickly because someone who negotiates intentionally, upgrades skills, moves strategically, builds networks, and targets high-impact work often ends up in a radically different financial position within 5 years compared to someone who stays passive and hopeful, not because they're smarter, but because they're deliberate. And here's the part most people miss. None of this requires secret knowledge. It requires awareness and action, because the system doesn't trap you with chains. It traps you with comfort, routine, and quiet assumptions. So here's the real question. 5 years from now, do you want to look back and realize you stayed safe, or that you built leverage? Because the people who escape income stagnation don't wait for permission. They design their path, negotiate their value, invest in themselves, and refuse to let default systems decide their financial future. Comment the word leverage if you're done letting default systems decide your income, because that one word tells me who's building optionality and who's still waiting. Subscribe if you want calm, practical money strategy initiashi every week instead of viral noise, and hit like. So this reaches someone lying awake tonight, wondering why working hard still doesn't feel like progress. Thanks for watching.